Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Amy and this is Thrift Adventure. Today I'll be doing another ship with me video. In these videos I go day to day and I share the different items that I'm shipping out. I talk about how much they sold for, what I paid for them, and what my profit was. So you want to be sure to watch all the way to the end because I always have interesting and unique items, and hopefully you can learn some new things to keep your eyes out for when you're out thrifting. So these are sales from over the weekend. It wasn't the best weekend, but it wasn't the worst weekend. I do have some sales to ship out, so I'm thankful for that. The first item sold on Chairish.com, and it is a set of 3 of these little Dachshund wiener dog figurines. There is a mama and 2 babies. I just thought these were so cute. The mama did have a broken leg that someone had repaired, but this set still sold for $37 even with that flaw. I've mentioned over and over again that if I pick up an item and then discover that it is flawed, I still list it and inevitably it sells. So like I said, these sold for $37. They were just marked Japan on the bottom, so I would guess that, you know, they're probably from maybe the 1960s or 1970s. I paid $3 for the set of 3. Cherish charges the 22% seller's fee, and that fee is if you have 10 or more items listed on their site. If you have less than 10 items listed, they charge 40%. So if you are thinking about selling on there, I would definitely read all of the information. I do have the Cherish seller guide linked in the description box below. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that, just something so that you can educate yourself about selling on Cherish. So my profit after fees and cost of goods was $26.08. You know, not a huge sale, but a great little profit for a $3 investment. The rest of the items sold on Poshmark, and the first item is this really pretty opal ring. It is set in sterling silver and it is marked sterling. This sold for $49. I picked this up at an estate sale just because I thought the opals had lots of fire and were a really pretty color. Plus it was only $5. Did already say this sold for $49 on Poshmark, which I think is a really great price. It did take a little while to sell, maybe even 6 months, but because it doesn't take up much space, I don't mind at all. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $34.20. I think that is wonderful. I love buying and selling jewelry. Like I say over and over again, it is just a great bread and butter item for me. Okay, and so for most of my jewelry items, I either use the small flat rate box or I use the padded flat rate envelope. Typically, I use the envelope if it is a lower dollar item, or, you know, a less fragile item, then I'll use that envelope. If it's a little more fragile item or higher dollar, then I'll use that small flat rate box. Okay, the next sale is a pretty fun and interesting sale. It is this pair of Bulldog cufflinks. Aren't those just cool? I picked these up solely because of the subject matter. Cufflinks don't usually sell for very much or very quickly for me, so I'm very particular about when I will pick them up. You know, if they're $1 or something, I may, you know, just pick some up, but they just don't sell very quickly for me. I did pay $3 for these, but they ended up selling for $50. There was some pretty good comps for similar items like this, so that's why I listed them at $59 and this buyer offered me $50. I happily accepted. I had picked these up in a small town thrift store. They actually had a few really cool pieces of jewelry that day, and I had been to that thrift store before and they don't typically have good jewelry, but you know, you never know. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $37. These also sold pretty quickly. I would say 2 or 3 weeks. So pretty quickly for me. I'm more of a long tail seller. So, you know, I tend to wait for, or hope for higher prices and just wait until the right buyer comes along. Okay, so the next item that sold is this adorable vintage Raffia woven purse. It has this cool chain detail on the front and the handles. I just thought this was adorable. I do think this is probably from the 1950s or 1960s. It just, the tag on the inside just said made in Japan. I always pick up these vintage kind of raffia or straw bags when I see them because I love them. This is another item that doesn't sell super quickly, but it has always served me well to buy items that I like myself and that I am enthusiastic about listing. So I will still pick these up. This ended up selling for $49 also. It sold for full price, but I had it listed in the past and I relisted it. It was priced higher before and I relisted it for $49, which in reality I think is a more appropriate price than what I had it listed for before. So I did pay $6 for this, I think at the Goodwill. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $33.20. I think that's great. If you guys are enjoying this type of video, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. It's totally free and it really means a lot to me. It encourages me and it tells YouTube that people are enjoying my videos, so they will suggest my videos to more people. Also, if you could give this video a thumbs up and comment down below, all those things really help me out. So don't go anywhere. I will be back with another clip or two showing what else I sell this week because like I said, I go to day. So I will see you in a little bit. Hey there, it's Wednesday and I have some great sales to ship out today. Only 4 sales, but there are a couple higher dollar pieces, so I'm super excited about that. Let's get started. The first sale was this pair of really fun vintage drinking glasses, and they have all of the luxury car makers on them: Rolls-Royce, Mercedes, Ferrari, Cadillac. I picked these up at a thrift store for $2. I just thought they were so cool. And they have been listed for a little while, but they ended up selling for $95 plus a $5 packaging fee. So that is a total of $100. Like I said, I only paid $2 for them. So after Cherish's fee and my cost of goods, that made my profit $77.10. I don't think I've mentioned it in this video, but if you are looking for some tips on packaging breakables and hard goods, I do have a video about that and I will link it in the description box below. So I was super excited about that sale. Typically, I don't like to pick up glasses unless there's at least 4, but I figured that someone would purchase these as a gift for someone, and I would be willing to bet that that's what it was, because today is December, I think it's the 5th. The next item that sold also sold on Cherish, and it is this really cool vintage decanter. It has pewter, top and stopper, and then this cool amber glass. It ended up selling for $80 plus a $5 packaging fee. If I haven't mentioned it in this video, on Cherish you can charge a packaging fee that is in addition to the shipping cost, and the buyer pays all of it. So it can help cover some of the costs of bubble wrap and peanuts and whatnot. So it sold for $85, I paid $8, and after Cherish's fee and my cost of goods, that made my profit $59.40. I'm thrilled with both of these sales. I'm gonna go ahead and move these out of the way and package them up off camera. I don't know if you can see it. I just realized I have something else behind me. I was trying to kind of move things around to film a video, and it didn't end up working out, and I ran out of time, and I haven't moved them back. So that well, there's always a mess behind me, but whenever there is a mess, it's because I am just trying to do too many things at once, and my greatest weakness is probably disorganization, and so I'm just not very good at staying organized or tidy, and I work on it, but I just try and accept myself for who I am. I'm good at a lot of things, but that is just not one of them. So I apologize if it bothers you guys, but right now it's just the way things are. Okay, so I had 2 sales on Poshmark over the last 2 days. This is a really great sale. It is a pair of vintage cowboy boots, and these are Tony Lama, and they are an exotic skin. So I don't know how well you can see this, but when I got them, I actually thought that it was alligator or crocodile belly, and I initially listed them as that, and someone corrected me and let me know that it is ostrich leg, which I have never heard of before, but I just thought they were really cool and interesting looking. As I always say, I do well with cowboy boots. These ended up selling for $296. They had been listed for quite some time, and I just relisted them less than a week ago for $329, and then I got this offer for $296. I'm thrilled with that. I'm gonna go ahead and package those up off camera. I had only paid $10 for these at a thrift store. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $226.80. I am very thrilled with that. And the buyer seems pretty excited to get them. So the next item that sold is this pair of Spanx pants. They are new with tags, and they are a long length with a flared leg. I picked these up at the Goodwill, and initially I was super excited, but they did sit for a while. I think it's because they are marked, I think they were marked petite, but they're actually quite a long length. So maybe it just took time to find the right buyer. They ended up selling for $75. I think I had them listed for $89. I had paid $6.99 or $7 for them. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $53. I think that is really great. All of my sales the last couple days had really great high profits, and that is what I like. I like to work smarter, not harder. Of course, it doesn't always work out that way, and I know that I'm pretty lucky for the types of items that I can find in my area for the prices that I can get. So don't go anywhere. There should be at least one more clip after this, and hopefully sales stay good. I haven't listed very much on Cherish, but I'm going to focus on that over the next couple of days so that hopefully I can get some more sales before Christmas. And also typically January and February are very busy on Cherish for me. I think a lot of people do redecorating that time of year. I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna try and, get a push on there so I can make more money on there too. All right, I will see you very soon. Hey friends, I'm back and it is Friday. I have a super exciting sale to share with you. That being said, I'm a little bit on the fence about the price that I sold it for. It is a very high price, but I'm not sure if I could possibly have gotten more. So I'll just go ahead and share it with you. It was a bundle of a brooch and 2 earrings that was a set, and then another brooch, and this bundle sold for $850. I am in shock that it sold for this much, but I also looked at comps on eBay, and there was some comps for this brand, Miriam Haskell, that sell for even higher dollar amounts. I could not find this exact set though. So I just decided to go ahead and accept the offer, and hopefully I didn't leave too much money on the table. If you are an expert and I did leave money on the table, maybe just be kind and don't tell me. Maybe, it's better that I don't know. Okay, so here is the Miriam Haskell set, and this is the brooch. It is made out of pink glass with the red rhinestones. I want to make sure that I get this very detailed on camera just because it is a high dollar sale and I want to have record of what I am shipping. So initially I listed this set for $695, and then I kind of had second thoughts and I increased the price to $895, and then I got this offer for both pieces for $850. I am really in shock. I did not, oops, let's see, I'm going to show the earrings too. I did not realize that some of these vintage brooches could be worth this much. I only paid $15 for this set at an estate sale. I had no idea that it was this valuable when I purchased it. So here is one of the earrings. It really was in beautiful condition. I could find no significant flaws other than, you know, the general look of it being vintage. So of course, not all Miriam Haskell sells for this high of a price, but there are some certain pieces that definitely have significantly more value. So if you find a set with this name and mark on it, I would highly recommend that you do some research. This did sell on Poshmark. It's possible that if I listed it on eBay, I may have been able to find another buyer for a higher price. Here is the other earring. But I really just need to get over my fear of eBay. As I've mentioned before, sometimes I struggle with anxiety, and I really like that on Poshmark. So this all is going to go to the Poshmark facility first for them to look it over. And that just really gives me peace of mind to know that there is a second set of eyes on this, you know, to kind of, I don't know what to say, back me up that it was sent in the condition that, you know, I described it as, and just kind of as an extra layer of protection for me. I have yet to have any significant issues with higher priced items that I've sold on Poshmark. Hopefully this is not a first, but I have sold, you know, items significantly over $1,000 up to $2,000 or close to $2,000 on Poshmark, and it has all gone well. So sorry to take a little bit extra time, but I just want to show on camera that, you know, I am packaging these up securely. Okay, and then the other brooch was this gorgeous vintage, is it Boucher, B-O-U-C-H-E-R. And I originally had this listed for $295, and then I increased the price on this as well. So I don't really have any problem selling this set for the price that I sold it at. This one has sentimental value. This was my mom's, but she has been gone for 9 years, and I have hundreds of her brooches, and I have never worn any of them. And so I decided it was time to let some of them go. And so, you know, it's just a little harder to part with items that have sentimental value as opposed to just, you know, a cost value. But I really hope that this buyer is either a collector and really, really loves them, or if they're another dealer, I hope they make, you know, good money. I really don't mind that at all. So this brand can also have some really high resale values. So I would look into that. I've mentioned this before, but Kat, the nurse flipper, she does some really great research videos on vintage jewelry, and she just goes through eBay sold listings, and she talks about the, you know, she looks at different brands and the high sold comps. And I have really learned a lot from watching those videos. So I would really recommend that you check those videos out too. I'm adding extra packaging so these don't rattle around. I also have a little note for the Poshmark representative asking them to securely repackage these, because this buyer has purchased from me once before, and if I remember correctly, they had that address in Portland that looks like a address that would be for a freight forwarder. Sorry, I can't spit it out. So I do think that these are going to somewhere in Asia. Okay, so they sold for $850. I paid $15 total, so that made my profit $665. I really should just be absolutely thrilled with that, and I am. I just, you know, like I said, sorry for the tape, when there's sentimental value involved, it just changes things a little bit. Okay, so that is all packaged and sealed up, and hopefully those arrive safely and it is all without incident. Okay, so the next sales aren't quite as exciting, but they are sales nonetheless, which always makes me happy. So this is a vintage silver plated beaded necklace, kind of styled after a Native American pearl necklace. I always pick up this style of necklace when I see it. Of course, I prefer to find the actual sterling silver ones because they sell for higher prices. But you know, if I can find these for the right price, I will definitely still pick them up. This ended up selling for $35, and it sold relatively quickly, so it's possible I may have underpriced this a little bit, but I paid $5 for it. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $20.02. I really do well with jewelry all year, but especially this time of year. I think people you know, buy items as gifts. So for my jewelry, I think I don't know if I mentioned it in this video, but I either use the small flat rate boxes or I use the padded flat rate envelope. If items are higher value or seem a little more breakable, then I use the box. If they don't, then I put them in the padded flat rate envelope. Okay, so the next item is just this somewhat vintage army metal brooch. I picked this up at an estate sale. I did look up comps. It didn't really have significant value, but it did sell somewhat quickly. It sold for $22. I had paid $3 for it. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $14.60. The next item is a belt. Is this the only belt I sold this week? I can't remember for sure. As you can see here, it's studded and it was missing a couple of little studs. I did indicate that in the listing, and it still sold relatively quickly. It sold for $17. I had paid $1 for this. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $12.60. I haven't listed any new belts for, I think, maybe a week or two. And it seems like when I list more belts, I sell more belts. So I think maybe that's why I haven't had as many belt sales this week. Okay, so I think I'm going to end the video here for this week, but I'll share my sales numbers. It turned out to be a wonderful week, especially with that $850 sale. But even without that, it was still a great week. Fourth quarter is hit or miss for me. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not great. Usually first quarter is my very best quarter of the year. So my total sales for the week were $1,665. Yes, I really needed to have an increase in sales. The summer was rough for me. My total cost of goods was $68. Wowee, what an amazing return on my investment. And my total profit after fees, cost of goods, and any shipping discounts was $1,259. Another week that I exceeded my $1,000 profit goal. Any week that I do that, I am thrilled and very proud of myself because I do work really hard to make the sales that I do, and I try and do research and present my items as, nicely as I can. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you next week.